Hello and welcome and thanks for tuning in. You're watching Gravitas. My name is Priyanka Sharma. Here's our show for tonight.
कौन खेलेगा इंडिया के लिए वो हमने डिसाइड करना है, कौन फ्यूचर है वो हमने डिसाइड करना है।
What comes to your mind when I say cricket? If you're watching me from India right now, I can picture you. Say the word cricket and you'd sit up and notice. And why not? They say cricket is part of the Indian DNA. Cricket is not just a game, it is a passion. Some would even call it a religion. If you're familiar with India, with its streets and lanes, you'd know. There's a game of gully cricket happening right now somewhere. There's hope and aspiration attached to the game. All conflict, all anger, opposition, controversy is wiped out when India takes down another team on the pitch. And Indian cricketers, they have massive star power. A huge fan following, they're treated like demigods. But tonight on Gravitas, we're going to show you another side. Tonight on the show, we bring you a world exclusive. Tonight, we'll expose some dirty secrets. We'll ask some pertinent questions. Number one, is doping prevalent within the Indian cricket team? Number two, what are senior players, the role models, the superstars up to? Number three, are fitness tests a farce in the game? And we'll also bring you secrets from a controversy which continues to mystify the cricketing world to this day. What happened between Sourav Ganguly and Virat Kohli? Let me be clear, what I'm about to show you is not just cricket. So as I said, the game of cricket is in India's DNA. They say it is a religion in India. From the Maidans of Mumbai to the snow-capped mountains of Kashmir to the backwaters of Kerala and the Seven Sisters in the northeast of the country, it's that one sport which is played competitively, recreationally. Indian cricket is also the financial epicenter of the sport. The rights for the IPL, the flagship property of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, was snapped up for a staggering $6 billion last year. Now that is over and above the media rights for all matches played in India, domestic and international, which went for close to $1 billion in the year 2018. But why am I telling you all this tonight? We are just setting up the context. Indian cricketers are the biggest brands in the country. Their faces sell everything, from cars to watches to even construction material. The Indian cricket fan consumes cricket content like no other. Every word that is said during an interview, of every little gesture while playing, is scrutinized, discussed, debated in the media as well as on social media today. Here's a special expose by Z Media on the politics within the BCCI, the ego battles between star players and the all-powerful cricket board. You have to see it to believe it.
On WION Today, a revelation that will shock legions of Indian cricket fans all over the world. A revelation like never before by a person so powerful and influential that he can make careers and destroy them too. This person is none other than Chetan Sharma, the chairman of the selection committee of the world's richest cricket board, the Board of Control for Cricket in India.
कौन खेलेगा इंडिया के लिए वो हमने डिसाइड करना है, कौन फ्यूचर है वो हमने डिसाइड करना है।
Chetan Sharma is about to reveal on Z Media's spy camera truths that till now lay buried deep within the BCCI establishment.
दोनों को बुला के खड़ा कर दिया, हाँ इधर आओ, खेलना है क्रिकेट, ये खाली क्यों? हम तो सीधा है, खेलना है कि नहीं खेलना? नहीं खेलना? Okay, thank you, we don't need you.
Today, Chetan Sharma will tell us how injections play a crucial part in fake fitness certificates which are issued to players who wear the India cap. Today, Chetan Sharma will tell us how Virat Kohli's reign as India's cricket captain came to an end.
रोहित शर्मा को फेवर कर रहे थे, एक बात बताओ, विराट कोहली को पसंद नहीं करते। हाँ सर, एक उल्टा चलो ना।
We'll reveal the real reason behind the dispute between former BCCI President Sourav Ganguly and Virat Kohli. Today, Chetan Sharma himself will unveil the inside story.
ये बहुत बड़ी बात बोल रहा हूँ, दो ईगो क्लैश हैं।
Who writes the script to drop your favorite Team India players? And from the BCCI to Team India, who is Chetan Sharma referring to when he says he will destroy many people?
कोई प्लेयर जगह छोड़ना नहीं चाहता, उनको पता है कोई आया अगर उसने कुछ कर दिया था, भाषा 2 साल वेट करना पड़ेगा मुझे।
Chetan Sharma, the chairman of selectors for the Indian cricket team. In the next few minutes, you'll see him discussing subjects that will never be mentioned in press conferences or media interviews. So what exactly happened behind the scenes in the battle between Virat Kohli, the powerful then captain, and then board chief Sourav Ganguly? Here's the story that you were never told.
ganguly ने कहीं स्टेटमेंट दिया कि जब विराट कोहली बात कर रहा था हमसे कि मुझे कैप्टनसी छोड़नी है, तो मैंने उसको मना किया कि कैप्टनसी नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए।
मतलब कि गांगुली ने मना किया कैप्टन नहीं छोड़ना है,
ये उसने मीडिया में बोला।
हाँ,
नहीं छोड़ना।
हाँ।
दूसरी तरफ विराट ने मीडिया में जाकर बोला कि मुझे कभी भी प्रेसिडेंट ने ये बात बोली नहीं।
हाँ।
बस उस पर कॉन्ट्रोवर्सी आई।
तो सच्चाई है क्या सर?
बोला था
हाँ?
तो नॉर्मल कोर्स है ना, बोला था उसने सौरव गांगुली ने कि सोच लो एक बार, जो माइट भी वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग में विराट ने नहीं सुना होगा। और वहां तो 9 लोग बैठे थे, एक तो आदमी होता नहीं है, तो सारे लोग थे, मैं भी था उसमें, सारे सिलेक्टर थे, बोर्ड के सब थे, सब अवेलेबल थे। या तो विराट को सुना नहीं या विराट ने क्या, मुझे नहीं पता। देखो वो
या विराट हो तो झूठ बोला,
हमें नहीं पता, विराट को पता होगा क्यों कहा विराट ने। और कोई वो एज ए कैप्टन जा रहा था साउथ अफ्रीका, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस जो होती है वो टीम के बारे में होती है, इस टॉपिक को लाने की जरूरत भी नहीं थी वहां, लेकिन वो इस टॉपिक को लेके आया, जानबूझ के लेके आया।
कौन?
विराट।
उसका मकसद क्या था?
यही मकसद वही बता सकता है।
तो सच्चाई क्या था सर?
सच्चाई ये था, तो बात तो हुई थी, 6 लोग 8-9 लोग बैठे थे, बात तो हुई थी।
मैंने गांगुली ने कहा था।
हाँ, गांगुली ने कहा था, विराट झूठ बोल रहा था। क्यों कह रहा था कि विराट झूठ? आज तक किसी को नहीं पता।
वो तो उनका पर्सनल मैटर,
वो उसका पर्सनल मैटर। उस पर कॉन्ट्रोवर्सी हो गया था कि बोर्ड वर्सेस प्लेयर हो गया था।
विराट कोहली झूठ क्यों बोला? इसका मकसद क्या था सर? एक मैंने हाइपोथेटिकल बात बताइए।
मकसद वही आपको बोला ना, उसको लगा कि कप्तान मुझे जो व्हाइट बॉल कैप्टनसी से हटाया गया है उसमें सौरव गांगुली का हाथ है।
उन्हें सौरव गांगुली को हटाना चाहता है। हटा दिया तो उसके जगह किसको लाना चाह रहा है सर?
रोहित शर्मा हाथ हो गया था।
मतलब यही
बड़ी कंट्रोवर्सी, आपको समझ नहीं आ रही, आप क्रिकेट में नहीं घुस रहे हो। ये बहुत बड़ी बात बोल रहा हूँ मैं। 2 ईगो क्लैश है। गांगुली वो ये सोच रहा है कि मुझे हटाया गया है कैप्टनसी से, ये गांगुली ने हटाया, तो उसकी मैं मंजी ठोकूंगा। वो उसने स्टेटमेंट दिया कि उसको लिटरली बदनाम करने के लिए कि गांगुली ये उल्टी सीधी हरकतें कर रहा है, ये बताने की कोशिश की गई। और जो वो उस पर उल्टा पड़ गया।
Sharma claims Kohli was lying and that he was present when Ganguly asked the then captain to reconsider his stance. So did the BCCI then ease Kohli out to favour his deputy Rohit Sharma?
इसको हम ऑफ रिकॉर्ड बता रहे हैं, फेवरेट जोड़ देते हैं कि गांगुली जो है आप रोहित शर्मा को फेवर कर रहे थे।
तो गांगुली बता सकता है
नहीं, ये सर हम लाइन खींच रहे हैं सर, एक तार खींच रहे हैं।
नहीं, ये सर के ऊपर आ जाएगा।
नहीं, आपके ऊपर क्यों आएगा सर?
सेलेक्टर मैंने बनाया, सेलेक्टर तो उन्होंने बनाया, यानी इसके अंदर
सर
भी काम कर रहे थे।
सर विवाद चल रहा है, मान लीजिए विवाद चल रहा है, फिर अचानक आपका हम
ये बात कहो कि रोहित शर्मा को फेवर कर रहे थे, एक बात बताओ विराट कोहली को पसंद नहीं करते। हाँ सर, एक उल्टा चलो ना।
Like I said, you have to see it to believe it. Are Indian cricket superstars breaching the spirit of cricket and the faith of their fans? You heard it from Team India's chief selector himself, the methods used by unfit players to keep their place in the team. Chetan Sharma's revelations on Zee Media's hidden camera do not end here. He discusses the lengthy absence of star bowler Jasprit Bumrah from the T20 World Cup in Australia last year. Take a look.
You heard it from Team India's chief selector himself, the methods used by unfit players to keep their place in the team. Chetan Sharma's revelations on Zee Media's hidden camera do not end here.
आप लोग भी अलाउ करते होंगे ना सारी चीजें?
हमें पता ही नहीं
सर, वो कैसे पता लगेगा?
आप मैच खेलते हो 7-6 बजे तक ग्राउंड है, वही टीम मैनेजमेंट है, वही सारा कुछ है। वंस गाड़ी बस गई, बस से आप उतर के अपने कमरे में गए, तो मैं कोई आपके पीछे आदमी थोड़ा लगा रखूंगा, क्या कर रहे हैं, कहाँ जा रहे हैं, किसको मिल रहे हैं, मुझे तो नहीं पता ना। मेरी भी लाइफ है यार, मुझे भी जाना है कहीं, मुझे वॉक करना है, मुझे डिनर पे जाना है, कहीं सब अपना अपना अलग अलग है।
बट आई डोंट ब्रेक द रूल।
ब्रेक द रूल, आई डोंट नो हु इज ब्रेकिंग द रूल। वी डोंट नो हु इज ब्रेकिंग द रूल ना, हमें तो पता ही नहीं लगता।
Chetan Sharma claims he was aware of what was going on, but yet spills the beans.
सामने ये डर होगा ना आज भी कि ऐसा नहीं कर सकते 1% का सर, क्योंकि अगर आपने कहा कि स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन हम ले लेते हैं और इस तरीके की चीजें ह्यूमर्स अभी बहुत फैल भी जाती हैं एकदम सबके हाथ में, एवरीबॉडी इज हैविंग
99.9%, बट लड़का सीधा पहले एनसीए रिपोर्ट करता है। 1% जिसको लगता है कि यार ऐसा हो सकता है, करता भी होगा, हमें नहीं पता। वी कैन नॉट से दैट कि हाँ करता है, और ये भी नहीं कह सकते नहीं करता, ये वीडियो हमारे तक बात नहीं आती वो कितनी बातें आएंगी यार, कितने लड़के 2500 लड़का खेल रहा है हमारे।
When the issue of unfit players came up, the conversation turned to star bowler Jasprit Bumrah. So what's the story behind his lengthy break?
आया फिट था वो, अब वो फिट हुआ, हमने ये प्लान किया, सिर्फ 2 मैच बचे थे हमारे पास, सीधा वर्ल्ड कप तैयारी थी। मेरा पॉइंट ये था कि हम तीसरा मैच खिलाते हैं उसको, बट राहुल द्रविड़ और रोहित चाहते थे कि हम दूसरा मैच बाजी खिलाते हैं, उसके बाद हम तीसरे में इसको रख देते हैं, इसको जल्दी भेज देते हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया। जो हमारे प्रैक्टिस मैच है वहां हम इसको 3-4 में से 2 खिलाते। ठीक है, मैंने बुमराह से बात की, बुमराह तो पहला खेलना चाह रहा था, क्या सर मैं तो पहला खेलना चाह।
Was Bumrah really fit to return ahead of the T20 World Cup?
मैंने बुमराह से बात की, बुमराह तो पहला खेलना चाह रहा था, क्या सर मैं तो पहला खेलना चाह। नहीं, पहला नहीं खेलना, दूसरा खेला। अब जब वो दूसरा खेला तो शाम को ही वो लेकिन अनकंफर्टेबल, तो मेरे पास फोन आया कि सर थोड़ा हम स्कैन के लिए सेकंड मैच देखे, नो इज क्लियर, सेकंड मैच खिलाएंगे। अब मैनेजमेंट फंस गई, सेलेक्टर फंस गए कि यार ये अगर थोड़ा कंप्लेन कर रहा है, अगर हम इसको ऑस्ट्रेलिया उड़ा दिया हमने और वर्ल्ड कप की टीम में डाल दिया, टीम तो अनाउंस हो जाती है, उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते, फिर हमें पूरा प्रोसीजर करना पड़ता है उसका। इसको देखो तो तेरा कैसे हो गया? नहीं सर मैं बिल्कुल ठीक, दूसरा मैच।
India missed Bumrah at the T20 World Cup in Australia last year. He still hasn't played for India since.
Let's move on now to another important question. Is China provoking a war in the Indo-Pacific? This is the region I'm talking about, the Indo-Pacific, home to India, Australia, Indonesia, the Philippines, numerous small island nations, Japan and China. Is China trying to wage yet another war in the region? It is. And no matter where you're watching us from right now, you should be worried because China is once again on the offensive. The evidence comes from the Philippines. Here's what recently happened. On 6th of February, China hit a Filipino Coast Guard vessel with a military-grade laser. Some of the crew members were temporarily blinded, and in the waters that Philippines refers to as the West Philippine Sea. The incident happened on the 6th of February, I repeat. And how did it all start? The Filipino Coast Guard boat was sailing towards a Navy ship, one that was anchored in the second Thomas Shoal. It is a submerged reef. And this is where it is located on the map. China claims that this reef, yet another territorial claim against a neighbor. Manila insists that the reef belongs to the Philippines, all the more because it is located inside the country's EEZ, or the Exclusive Economic Zone. Manila has anchored a rusted World War II ship at this second Thomas Shoal. Why? To legitimize its claim on the reef. Now, this particular Coast Guard boat was headed towards that very ship. It was carrying supplies for the sailors on board, and that is when a Chinese vessel hit the Coast Guard boat with a laser. The military-grade laser was flashed twice, due to which sailors found themselves temporarily blinded. But China was not done. Its ship, the Chinese ship, made a dangerous maneuver extremely close to the Filipino Coast Guard boat. What were the Chinese trying to do? Intimidate the Filipino Coast Guard? I can't think of any other explanation at this point. Meanwhile, Manila says that Chinese actions are a quote-unquote clear violation of Philippine sovereign rights. But China has zero regrets. The Foreign Ministry says that its military's actions were lawful. There is nothing wrong in hitting a foreign ship with a laser and blinding its crew. What gives? The Chinese belief in parallel reality. Let me tell you a little more about it. You see, international law says that whatever falls within the 200 nautical mile zone from a country's coast is that country's exclusive economic zone. But China here says parts of the Filipino EEZ belongs to China. How is this possible? Because of the 9-dash line, this one. China says anything that falls within this U-shaped 9-dash line is part of China. Obviously, there is no legal basis to this claim.
The second Thomas Shoal is part of China's Spratly Islands. We hope that the Philippine side will effectively respect China's territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests in the South China Sea to avoid any action that may lead to the exacerbation of the dispute and complication of the situation.
China is ready to go to war to make this parallel reality mainstream, to legitimize its claim on everything that lies within the 9-dash line, and maybe beyond. And this is a war that China has been preparing for quite some time now. Remember, China has been on a hunt for permanent military presence in the Pacific Islands. In 2018, for example, it reportedly requested Vanuatu for the right to establish a permanent military presence in the island. In 2021, China drafted plans to upgrade a World War II-era runway in Kiribati. Then in April, China finally managed to sign a security pact with the Solomon Islands. Currently, it allows Chinese vessels to dock and replenish in the Solomon Islands. Moreover, analysts say that it lays the groundwork for a Chinese military outpost. It's all a build-up to what looks like yet another imminent military grab by China. China has border claims with almost every neighbor. It is aggressive on multiple fronts because let's not forget that China has also been threatening Taiwan constantly. It has even set up a date for the conquest of Taiwan. Then there are other countries that China has been provoking, like in February last year. China flashed military-grade laser towards Australian warplane. Australia said, and I quote, acts like this one have the potential to endanger lives. And do you know what else they are capable of? Triggering a war. One plane crash, one downed vessel, and before you know it, fire is being exchanged and a clash has broken out. Basically, what China has done with regard to the Filipino boat is opening a new shooting front. But why the Philippines? You see, there is no love lost there. The Philippines and China have a troubled history, which includes disputed islands and court battles. The Philippines entered 2023 hoping for a fresh start. In January this year, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visited China. He met Beijing's top leaders. Chinese President Xi Jinping, also the Standing Committee Chairman of the National People's Congress. They told him that China would resolve the maritime disputes diplomatically. Then what happened? Lesson number 1. Why China cannot and should not be trusted. My point is this. The Philippines ends up becoming China's soft target because Beijing sees Manila as an American ally. Beijing's strategic confrontation is America-centric. It treats every nation that has good relations with Washington as an active or sleeping enemy, as it prepares for war across the Pacific. It's a story that we'll be closely tracking on Gravitas. I'm reminded of an ancient proverb, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend," meaning if two parties have a common enemy, they can or should work together. Iran and China seem to be doing exactly this. They're joining hands against a common adversary, the United States of America. If there was any doubt about this, the Iranian president's visit to China has settled them all. Look at these images now. This is Ebrahim Raisi meeting Xi Jinping in Beijing. The Chinese president gave him a red carpet welcome followed by a guard of honor by the Chinese military. The arrangements were grand to say the least, and why wouldn't they be? After all, this is the first state visit by an Iranian leader to China in almost 2 decades. Yes, for the last 20 years, no Iranian leader has visited China. This is despite the two countries maintaining close trade ties. So naturally, this meeting is bound to be closely watched by all Western powers, especially America, a country that both China and Iran oppose, a country that both China and Iran accuse of dominating international affairs. So what exactly do they plan to do? What's on the agenda for this visit? Who all from Iran are currently visiting China? And what exactly will they discuss? In the next 3 minutes, we shall discuss all these points. I'll start with the delegation. Ebrahim Raisi hasn't gone to Beijing alone. He has taken along a huge entourage of ministers, the biggest Iranian delegation to Beijing ever. This includes 6 members of Raisi's cabinet: the Minister of Economy, the Minister of Petroleum, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Urban Development, and the Minister of Agriculture. They're all a part of this delegation. And what all will they discuss? Well, a host of things, like American sanctions, the war in Ukraine, better cooperation, enhancing bilateral trade and deepening defense ties. In fact, right ahead of this visit, the Iranian president penned an editorial in the People's Daily. That happens to be China's state-controlled newspaper. In the editorial, he described the agenda of the visit quite well. He said, and I quote, "Iran will, as always, uphold policies to strengthen Iran-China bilateral ties, and this will not be affected by any changes in the regional and international situation. More so, China's economic growth and its outbound investment benefit the people of China and other countries, and we welcome initiatives proposed by China for promoting world peace, security, and development." I repeat, the Global Times, another Chinese mouthpiece, carried this report on the visit, a report where it stressed on the need for an anti-Western front. Allow me to quote the most telling excerpt from this report. It says, "China's deepening cooperation with Iran also has an anti-hegemony and anti-bullying feature. Both China and Iran uphold independent foreign policies, firmly defend the principle of non-interference in international affairs on international occasions, and safeguard the common interests of developing countries. This is conducive to promoting the multipolarization and diversified development of the world, and conforms to the general trend of the time." It goes on to say that if anyone feels targeted in this process, then they should first reflect on whether they are too selfish. That's a telling statement. But how do we perceive such statements? Do they indicate the consolidation of an anti-American axis? It certainly seems like it. You see, both Iran and China have tense relations with Washington, and they both try to project themselves as a counterweight to American hegemony, along with Russia. In fact, of late, all three have been trying to align their interests through bilateral deals and visit. Iran is giving drones to Russia. Iran is also looking to join the SCO. And then, of course, we have Russian officials visiting Iran. The national security chief was in Tehran in November. The same story with China. In December, China's vice premier visited Tehran. China has also been economically supporting Russia during this war. To put it simply, Iran, China and Russia are cementing their ties to take on the West, to counter the West's hegemony on the global stage. The question is, will their efforts bear fruit? Only time will tell. And for now, we shift our attention to Africa, where a new virus has sent alarm bells ringing. Like COVID, this virus too has jumped from bats, and it can also be transmitted from one human to another. The word is, the virus is already as deadly as Ebola. And the question is, are we staring at another pandemic? As morbid as that thought sounds, we must dig deep. Let's start with the name of this virus. It's called Marburg, M-A-R-B-U-R-G. It has killed 9 people in Equatorial Guinea. This is where the country is located on the map. It is all of 28,000 square kilometers and is home to some 1.4 million people. In the last few days, people in this province, called Kintem, have begun falling sick. At least 9 people have died, 16 are being monitored. They are all showing scary symptoms: fever, fatigue, blood-stained vomit and diarrhea. Last week, Equatorial Guinea said that it is investigating these cases. The country consulted the World Health Organization. The diagnosis dropped a bomb. Experts concluded that the people had Marburg. So what is it? It is a zoonotic virus. It originated in fruit bats. The virus was first identified back in 1967, and back then there were simultaneous outbreaks in 2 countries, Serbia and Germany, where the virus was identified at a lab. In fact, that is where the virus gets its name from, Marburg. Marburg can transmit from one person to another through physical contact, and the symptoms normally begin with showing within 2 days to 3 weeks. The World Health Organization believes sometimes these symptoms begin abruptly. You may suddenly come down with an intense fever or have a bad headache. Some patients also have a stomach ache that goes on for weeks. Some start bleeding from their gums. It all sounds way too familiar and scary. All this explains why authorities in Equatorial Guinea have declared a health emergency in the province and have also slapped a lockdown. That brings me to my next question. How deadly is this virus? In 1967, the virus killed 7 people. There was an outbreak in Angola in 2004 as well. 252 people were infected. 90% of them died. In 2022, there was an outbreak in Ghana. 2 people died. And now at least 9 people have died in Equatorial Guinea. You see, the virus targets our organs and it reduces the body's ability to function. What's more, the World Health Organization says that Marburg's fatality rate is around 50%. The case fatality can vary from 24% to 88%, and this has been noticed in the past outbreaks as well. The WHO has now convened an emergency meeting. The question is, should you be worried? I won't say no. You could be staying thousands of miles away from Africa. But remember, the Wuhan virus shows us it does not take too long for viruses to jump borders. So the current outbreak, though limited to one Western African country, is a cause of concern for the world, for all of us. Our next story is from Moldova, a landlocked country in Eastern Europe, famous for its world-class wine and ancient monasteries. Turns out, both seem to be currently in peril. In peril from what? A Russian invasion. You heard that right. Moldova says that it could soon become a victim to a coup that is being plotted by Russia. This is the assertion of Maia Sandu, the president of Moldova. Speaking to reports from the capital, Sandu accused Russia of using foreign saboteurs to bring her tiny country's leadership down and stop it from joining the EU. You must listen to this.
The plan for the next period involves actions involving saboteurs with military training, dressed in civilian clothes, who would undertake violent actions, attack government buildings and take hostages. By organizing violent actions disguised as protests of the so-called opposition, a change of power in Chisinau is pursued.
Before I go any further, let me show you where Moldova is. It's a former Soviet state located in Eastern Europe. It borders Romania in the west and Ukraine to the north, east and south. With just 2.6 million people and the lowest GDP in Europe, Moldova has nervously watched the war in Ukraine for the last 1 year. This is due to the presence of Russian troops. A small, unrecognized breakaway state, Transnistria. It is located along the Moldovan-Ukrainian border, and in the last 1 year, Russia has apparently deployed cruise missiles in this territory. Moldova says these missiles were initially meant for Ukraine, but could soon be used against Moldova too. The president has further added that Moldova's opposition parties, along with a few Moldovan oligarchs, are secretly working to implement this plan for Russia. Listen into this now.
In implementing the plan, the authors rely on some internal forces, but mainly on criminal groups such as the formation of SURE and all its arbitrary ones, on some veterans, former members of the law enforcement forces, and on numerous people known for their connections with Pioneer Moldovan oligarch Vladimir Pioneer.
So is there any merit to Moldova's fears? Are they rooted in reality or based on hearsay? One can't say for sure. But what we do know as of now is that these allegations have been made just a week after Ukraine raised similar fears. Remember last week, the Ukrainian president had said that his country had intercepted a plan by Russia's secret service to quote-unquote destroy Moldova. The Kremlin had vehemently denied this allegation, and it has once again reiterated its message. It says that Moldova's accusations are completely unfounded and unsubstantiated. It has blamed Ukraine for stirring up tensions between Moscow and Moldova. It says that Kyiv, along with NATO, is trying to draw Moldova into a direct confrontation with Russia. And remember, this is something the Russian foreign minister had also said recently. On the 2nd of February, Sergei Lavrov had said that the West was trying to make Moldova another anti-Russian state, and had installed a pro-West leadership for the same. Listen in.
They are auditioning Moldova for this role, the role of a potential anti-Russia project. First of all, because they managed to put in charge of the state using some specific methods that are far from free and democratic, a president who is yearning to join NATO, who has Romanian citizenship and who is ready to merge Moldova with Romania and is ready to do almost anything. Secondly, I will not go into detail, but Moldova is one of the countries that the West wants to be yet another anti-Russia state.
So how do we perceive these statements? Is Russia actually planning to break Moldova's leadership? Is it planning to launch a secret coup? Well, the Kremlin will certainly deny this, but the kind of statements that Russian leaders have been making of late add to our doubts and concerns. In any case, there's no indication of a direct military threat to Moldova by Russia. Not yet. But as for reports of Russia working to launch a coup, when have details of such plans been leaked to the public? Let's move on now and shift our focus to India. Japanese automaker Nissan and France's Renault will pump in $600 million in India. That's right. The investment is geared towards developing 4 new SUVs and 2 electric cars. The investment will go into their plant in Chennai. More than 2,000 local jobs will be created due to this investment. The companies say that the Chennai facility would emerge as a major export hub. The Tamil Nadu government has hailed the investment. It has called the investment a major boost for Make in India. What's more, the discovery of 5.9 million tons of lithium is expected to pull more EV manufacturers to India. Take a look at this next detailed report.
Nissan COO Ashwani Gupta is really upbeat about India's future and the future of the Indian EV market. More so after India discovered huge reserves of lithium. Here's what Gupta told WION in an exclusive interview.
Yesterday we announced two A-segment cars, right? Definitely the question comes, what are you going to do with supply chain? Because the supply chain has to be competitive. Then only, the battery car can be profitable and affordable by the customer. And in the supply chain, the most thing comes is the minerals. And when I also got this news about lithium, I said, wow, this is a great news.
For India, the investment announcement comes at a crucial time. Most of the world is staring at an economic slowdown. US companies are laying off thousands of workers. The European Union is tipped to narrowly avoid recession. China is still reeling under the impact of its zero-COVID policy. But India's has been a different story altogether. It's indeed a bright spot in a dark horizon. India is now a preferred destination for major global companies. Earlier, many of the Western companies preferred China. But geopolitical tensions have spurred a rethink on their part. The need to diversify supply chains away from China is pressing. And that's where India comes in. Apple and Foxconn have already announced their big plans for India. And now, Nissan and Renault plan to make India a major export hub. This is what Nissan has to say. India was the first alliance plant, and India will be at the center of this new chapter of the alliance, with new vehicles, new R&D activities and new export markets taking our joint operations to the next level. As fate would have it, Nissan and Renault ripped their alliance for China last year. The reason? Renault was fed up with Nissan's flagging sales in China. It was a major setback for the global automaker alliance's ambitions in China. And evidently, India is now a top destination for investment.
How can I wrap up the show tonight without talking about the date today? You know what day it is. It is Valentine's Day. The day of love, and for some of you, a day of scorn. You might have been looking forward to it to pamper your partner, buy them their favorite chocolates and flowers, or you might have been dreading it. Tired of watching gushing and blushing couples, cringing at over-the-top expressions of love. We've all been there. Stay with me over the next few minutes. I'll wrap up your Valentine's Day with some eye-opening facts. The day has now been reduced to fancy dinners, overpriced gift boxes and heart-shaped emojis, with never-ending confessions on social media. But it wasn't always like this. The significance of Valentine's Day has changed over the years. When you delve into the history, well, things get rather dark, and it's not for the faint-hearted. You might have vaguely heard the origin story. It's all right if you don't know the facts, but as it turns out, even historians find themselves arguing over why we celebrate this day in the first place. So let me give you an outline. Valentine's Day was originally observed as a Catholic holiday. It was celebrated to honor Saint Valentine, who is heralded as a Christian martyr. The legend dates back to 270 AD when Emperor Claudius II ruled Rome. He observed a lagging enlistment into his Roman army. When he looked into the matter, the emperor discovered that the disinterest was due to love. Men were strongly attached to their wives and lovers. They simply didn't want to part ways with their beloved to serve in the army. He was infuriated. He banned all marriages and unions and engagements. Cruel, isn't it? Well, that's what Saint Valentine's thought was. So he decided to help unite lovers secretively. Despite the ban, he continued to perform marriage ceremonies in secret. All is believed to be good until Claudius discovered the priest's activities. Things got murky after that. The emperor sentenced the saint to death, and as if that wasn't enough, he also had his head cut off. Saint Valentine died on February 14th. A kind and helping priest got beheaded. Doesn't sound so lovey-dovey, does it? Well, that's also because Valentine's Day wasn't always this over-the-top as we know it today. Well, not until the Middle Ages at least, and you might want to thank the poet Geoffrey Chaucer for that. In the 14th century, February 14th also happened to be the first day of spring in Britain. It was the beginning of birds' mating season, which is again perfect for a celebration of affection. Through his writings, Chaucer popularized expressing love on Valentine's Day, and soon people began penning and exchanging love letters to celebrate the Day of Love. The trends changed over time. In the mid-19th century, many commercial Valentine's Day traditions began, the ones that we know to date. Victorian men wooed women with flowers. Richard Cadbury reportedly created the first heart-shaped box of chocolates. Mother of the American Valentine, Esther Howland rose to fame for her affordable greeting cards. And the commercialization has only gone up since then. Today, look around you. There are memes about dropping hints to your Valentine. There are bars and clubs hosting exorbitant dinners, offering you a curated sense of romance over an inflated bill. Don't have any romantic partner? Then there's Galentine's Day, a day out with the gals, but only if you have the moolah to celebrate the day. Now, Valentine's Day is less about honest confessions of love or appreciation for your partner and more about expensive perfumes and overpriced gift boxes. I'm not being a Valentine's Grinch. There's nothing wrong with pampering your loved one or telling them how you feel. It's just the holiday staples that I'm questioning today. And of course, the multi-billion-dollar industry built around it, the pressure that comes with the day. How many of you are sick of seeing your newsfeed filled with hearts and roses? Take a look.
Even as people feel the pinch of rising prices, Americans aren't letting anything get in the way of love. They are ready to spend even more on their Valentines this year. According to the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insights and Analytics, consumer spending on Valentine's Day is expected to touch a whopping $26 billion. This would be 8% up from last year, making 2023 the second highest year on record. On an average, Americans would spend $193 on Valentine's Day. While they intend to shell the most money on their spouses or lovers, many also plan to shower love on their pets, friends, co-workers, classmates, and teachers. According to the survey, between 2010 and 2020, 27% more individuals are expected to buy gifts for their pets. Whether it's pooches or partners, the cost of loving has surely gone up this Valentine's. Restaurant menu prices are 8% higher than last year, and yet Americans are expected to spend $4.4 billion on a special evening outside. It seems nothing can get in the way of love, not even inflation. But remember, while you may be crying tears of joy on receiving that gift, your partner may be sitting on a mountain of debt. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
So one thing seems clear. If you want to sell something connected to love and passion, at least for this part of the year, the tradition isn't just limited to gifts. It loops in food and beverages as well. Valentine's Day has come to revolve around chocolates, champagne, caviar and oysters. And do you know what all of these edibles have in common? A claim to send you into a stupor, to heighten your libido. People are convinced that these are vital tools of seduction. The sales of oysters soar in the UK around Valentine's Day. But just how much of an impact do these foods actually have? Does science even back up these sensational claims? Probably not. Among the Valentine's staples, chocolates have the longest running association with intimacy. As I told you, companies have been packaging chocolates in elaborate fancy boxes. You might even be guilty of buying one yourself. And brownie points if you got strawberries along with it. Now, there's no denying these food items do trigger the release of the love hormone, the so-called love hormone oxytocin. But the whole truth is that you would have to consume them in a very high amount to actually experience the impact. And sadly, that would be enough to spend your Valentine's Eve on a toilet seat. So here's the catch. What would you have chocolate-covered strawberries with? A fine bottle of rosé, perhaps? Some expensive champagne? That's right, the answer is actually alcohol and not the so-called aphrodisiacs that notorious brands convince you to buy. While there's nothing associated with intercourse in the chemical composition of alcohol, it does lower your inhibitions. So this Valentine's Day, don't fall for these marketing gimmicks. Save your money. After all, you will be needing it to buy an expensive gift for your partner. Now, I've been telling you that love sells well, but so does hate. While Valentine's Day is a day of love, it could be a heart-crushing reminder of your ex, of all the loving moments you spent together, only to part ways on a bad note. So how do you get rid of that heavy feeling? For how long will you be the bigger person? What about getting a little petty? Well, here's a rather creative way. I'm not provoking you to swear at your ex, but you can jump on this trend by Pennsylvania's Lee Valley Zoo. For $5, this zoo will name a cricket after your ex. It will then feed the bug to turtles, lizards, or chicken, among other animals. And if your scorn won't be satisfied by a tiny insect, you can bid on a carcass as well. The zoo will then feed it to 4 Mexican grey wolves. And if that isn't your style, how about making this a little dirty? An Ohio animal shelter is offering to write your ex's name in a litter box. And adoptable cats will go to town on it. It's clear that zoos and shelters are having their fun this Valentine's, and so can you. Now, relationships are no child's play, especially in this fast age. People are constantly on the go. They have limited time and zero patience. So you either knock their socks off with a good first impression or get ghosted. This could be an uphill task if you are new to the dating world. If you are an Indian watching me right now, you might have struggled in your love life. It could be due to strict parents. Other rules as well. Well, if that resonates with you, all hope is not lost. You will just need to put extra effort and, of course, money. A bunch of firms and apps are now offering something rather curious: dating surrogates. These surrogates go on mock dates with clients to train them for the real world. They share dating tips and relationship insights. It may sound appealing to you. It might not be enticing for your wallet. The firms can charge you anywhere from $145 to $1,000. Now, who knew you would need schooling for love, and that too with such a high tuition fee? And before I wrap up this segment on Valentine's Day, I hope you have picked out the perfect gift for your partner. If you haven't, the island of love is up for grabs, and it might be the most extravagant gift of the year. Star-crossed lovers can buy a part of Croatia's unique heart-shaped Adriatic islet. There are no hotels, villas or restaurants. Nothing to disturb you, but many celebrities and their yachts frequent it every summer. The island has a total area of 142,000 square meters. Slightly over 40,000 square meters is being sold for $13.9 million. It's still not clear if relationships are thriving this year, but capitalism sure is. And as they say, is everything fair in love? Even never-ending bills and crippling debt. Clearly, that's the sentiment this Valentine's Day. And that's all that we have for you on the show tonight. Thanks for watching Gravitas with me, Priyanka Sharma, leaving you as always with Gravitas Images. Thanks for watching.